Published, 1802 Eastern Standard Time, the 31st of December 2017. Updated, 2024 Eastern Standard Time, the 31st of December 2017. These are worrying times for Manchester United. Mediocrity on the pitch, discontent in the stands, and the first signs of friction between Jose Mourinho and his employers in the Old Trafford boardroom. If defeat in the Manchester derby had not already killed off United's title hopes, 3 draws in a week over Christmas have left Mourinho's team locked in a battle just to finish in the top 4. This is not how it was meant to be when he pitched up in Manchester to take on Pep Guardiola. Jose Mourinho's reign at Manchester United is threatening to unravel after they slipped to third, whereas the city boss recently purchased his city centre apartment for £2.7 million. Mourinho's preference for continuing to live at the Lowry Hotel is starting to make some sense after all. If he's not careful, the 54-year-old's reign at United is in danger of unraveling. In recent weeks, Mourinho has taken issue with his own players, referees, the fixture list and the board. Now he's blaming plain bad luck. "I feel unlucky, yes," he said after a demoralizing draw against Southampton. "But unlucky in football? You have to change, which is what we try to do." Mourinho had a point after seeing Romelu Lukaku join Zlatan Ibrahimovic on the sidelines, concussed following an early clash of heads with Wesley Hoedt. Lukaku is expected to miss 2 games, Ibrahimovic a month, so United head to Merseyside for a difficult game against Everton on Monday without their 2 main frontmen. The United boss said he feels unlucky at the moment and that decisions are going against him. They were also unfortunate not to be awarded a penalty for Maya Yoshida's clear handball in the first half, one of 3 decisions that Mourinho claims have gone against him in the draws with Leicester, Burnley and Southampton. But too many players are underperforming in this United team. The system isn't working and the mood has gone flat. Mourinho can see it and so can the fans. Boos rang out at the final whistle and could be heard from those supporters gathered around the tunnel as the manager headed off the pitch. "It's a frustrating moment," admitted Paul Pogba, one of those playing well below par. "Something has to change if we are to win." Paul Pogba is also not performing, the system isn't working and the mood has gone flat. What has made it all the more galling for United and Mourinho is the obvious comparison with City and Guardiola. Across town, yeah, it won't help, added defender Phil Jones, who acknowledged that United are now fighting for the remaining Champions League places below their neighbours after dropping to 3rd place behind Chelsea. "For sure, it's obvious if you look at the table," said Jones. "It's frustrating for us, frustrating for the fans of course and everyone involved, but there's no point sulking about it. We've got to stick together." That could be a problem with Mourinho, a manager who is not slow to blame others and who has recently taken aim at his own board. This, above all, should set the alarm bells ringing round Old Trafford. Mourinho is a winner and a highly driven manager who does not like losing, especially to Guardiola. When he says that United will struggle unless they match City's level of spending, Mourinho insists he is not being critical of Executive Vice Chairman Ed Woodward and the Glazer family, but there is usually an ulterior motive. It is understood that the manager has been unhappy with the transfer policy at the club for some time, and is unsure whether an £80 million budget to strengthen his squad this month is still available. The board, on the other hand, are prepared to back Mourinho again but will not make needless signings before the summer when City are so far ahead. The prospect of Mourinho not seeing out the 3rd year of his contract has been discussed for the first time. He has recently criticized the transfer policy and is hopeful he will be given £80 million to spend. For now, he must try to turn things round at Everton, just 48 hours after his latest disappointment, without a number of key personnel. United lost another player for 3 games after the Football Association took action against Ashley Young for elbowing Southampton's Dusan Tadic in the stomach when defending a corner. "I'm disappointed because you don't expect that from him," said Tadic afterwards. "At the next corner I asked him, 'Why did you do that? If you want to push then okay, but an elbow is different.'" Jose Mourinho lost the players at Real Madrid and Chelsea. Now he is in danger of losing the dressing room at Manchester United. He has slated his players in recent weeks, calling them childish and immature. He has bemoaned a lack of funds. What must the players be thinking when he is effectively saying they are not good enough? Watch him on the bench and you see him reeling away when a player misses a pass. Do you think the players cannot see it too? There needs to be more togetherness between Mourinho and his players, but at the moment it feels like isn't them. He is obsessed with success but is pushing his players too hard. They look deflated and devoid of confidence. I felt for Luke Shaw against Southampton. Mourinho was 5 yards from him on the touchline barking instructions, but he needs to trust his players' decision-making. By the end, Shaw looked a nervous wreck. Mourinho has lost Shaw and Henrik Mkhitaryan. Maybe it is intentional because he wants to sell them. But they should respond with performances that make it hard for them to be pushed out. I feel that Jesse Lingard has almost been rebelling against Mourinho with his performances of late. Earlier this season, Mourinho was reluctant to pick him, now he is undroppable. Pep Guardiola has improved every player at City. Is Mourinho getting more from Shaw and Mkhitaryan? Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial do not have any less potential than Leroy Sane and Raheem Sterling, but you cannot say Mourinho has got as much out of his young forwards. United have made great strides under Mourinho. He took over a club in transition with an aging squad and won 2 trophies in his first year. What he needs to do is rekindle the feel-good factor they had at the start of the season. Until October, they were playing with freedom, but it changed when Mourinho pulled the handbrake at Liverpool. City's players get their enjoyment from the football they play. With Mourinho you get that from trophies. The problem is that when you play a defensive style it is not enjoyable when things go wrong. He has what it takes to turn things round, but he cannot afford to fall out of love with his players. It has cost him before and could do so again. This is what Frank Lampard said about Jose Mourinho 2 years ago when reflecting on their time together at Chelsea. Jose is the best manager I have been fortunate to play under. He is brilliant, a real man-manager. He made us believe. Jose brought a mindset with him that was always Mourinho's main quality. He was never a visionary coach, more a planner and organizer. His real skills lay in his handling of individuals, his ability to motivate and inspire. He has always been a manager of people in its purest sense. So as he presides over Manchester United's slide towards the dark shadows of the Premier League title contests, it is pertinent to ask questions of his actual management now. Lampard talked about a mindset. It is a rather cliched term, but it is relevant here. What kind of mental and emotional state is Mourinho encouraging in his players as the new year begins? Lampard also said Chelsea players used to believe. Looking at United's players at the moment, it would appear the only thing they believe is that every afternoon or evening on a football pitch is going to be very difficult indeed. A manager cannot be responsible for everything at a club. Some things are out of his control. But he is responsible for the mood, attitude and atmosphere. Mourinho has always set that tone, wherever he has been. He is setting it now, but in the worst possible way. Staff at United have always noted that Mourinho rarely smiles. While he was winning, however primitive the football, that was viewed as an unfortunate quirk. Now his demeanor is casting a cloud so dark over Old Trafford that it is following his players down the tunnel on match day. This United team no longer believe they are good enough. They have spent too long hearing their manager say he needs to spend more, that they miss too many chances, concede bad goals and represent a big club but are not a big team. Players are professionals and paid to get on with it. But they are humans, too, and some in the United team are young. They listen to what their manager says, and players such as Marcus Rashford, Romelu Lukaku and Luke Shaw must wonder when their manager is ever going to sound as though he is actually on their side. At Old Trafford, they can only hope they are not witnessing Mourinho falling back into familiar habits. When the Portuguese believes he cannot win, he lights fire after fire, and then, just as the building is about to collapse, he gets out. He cuts and runs and starts again somewhere else. Mourinho is not programmed for second place, nor for gradual empire building. He likes to win and win fast. With Pep Guardiola establishing something so special across town at Manchester City, one wonders if Mourinho has read the writing on the wall and noted that it has been inked there with a sky blue pen. If United think their manager will plan a way to claw back the lost ground yard by yard, season by season, they may discover they are quite wrong. This is not what he does. This season, Mourinho has been so distracted and irritable that he has forgotten what he is good at. He has forgotten to manage, and it is costing his team. The longer it goes on, the more we wonder if he will only revert to what he has always done best when he is working somewhere else.